Sensei Seth, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So now, a technical question. You are world
Okay.
famous for some crazy kicking. Crazy kicking. Great skills.
Right.
Probably the most common email I get is, I'm not very flexible. I want to kick higher. How do I kick faster? It's always kicking stuff. I know you've addressed this. You put out a course about this stuff, so people should check that stuff out. But if you could give us, what is your first reaction to this? Like, hey, I want to be a better kicker. What's your favorite stretch? What's your favorite drill? Can you give us some help?
Okay. So for me, first off, it's like understanding the body mechanics of the kick. There's 4 to 5 big things. The body mechanics of the kick, the ability for you to pull your leg up, so the strength, the allowance of the other side of your leg, so the top of your leg pulls the leg up. The bottom of the leg is what's stretching. It's allowing you to get that leg higher. So maybe that's your problem. Then your mobility, how good are your joints? So that's number 4. And then your balance, how good you can practice for long periods of time, keep good balance, maybe work on going slow and steady, or, sometimes you just your body inherently you're like, oh, I want to get this leg up. I'm just going to throw it up there. And then everything else is just the balance goes away. So those are my 5 big things: the balance, the body mechanics, the flexibility, the mobility, and then the strength. And then as for each of those things, kicking will make you better at all of those things. So if you just rep out kicks, you record yourself is what I've been really big on lately, is recording yourself, watching it back, watching people you admire who kick, and then comparing the two. That's where I feel like I get better. It's the best way of teaching yourself by somebody else's example. And then as far as stretching goes, I hardly really ever stretch anymore. I'm not super flexible, but I stretched for a long period of time as a kid. So what I would recommend is just start stretching now. Work on things that are active stretches, and then every now and then things that are static stretches. So the splits, I can't do the splits, but I can also kick it head high. So it's understanding what you need, what your body needs for you in order to be able to kick higher, instead of assuming that it's always flexibility.
That's really a great point. I have a video about that flexibility without stretching, and it seems counter. I love hearing that from someone else's mouth. Because the activity, even just long stances, I think goes a long way in just building up your body awareness and how to align your bones and working on flexibility without having to rip anything by throwing it violently in the air.
Right.
Those deep stances are really a great way just to kind of find, because a long stance or a front stance is really just a side kick, but it's on the ground, right? And then you just kind of work on your balance to get that a little bit higher. So I love hearing you say that. Now you also threw in, just so people don't hate your guts, you say, well, I don't stretch, that you've been doing this since you were very young. Yeah,
right. Since I was 3. At this point, my flexibility has kind of been ingrained into me. And to be fair, I do still stretch from time to time, but I do it more actively instead of being okay, I'm going to sit down for 30 minutes, and I'm just going to sit in a wide stance here, or in a middle split, and I'm just going to sit there until my legs move further apart. That does work for some people. For me, I don't like to sit still. Right. So a lot of the stuff that I do is active flexibility stuff, where I'm putting my body in those situations where I'm moving a little bit further than I usually would, but I'm not making an emphasis of sitting down and doing that.
Okay. So now let me put your realism versus your idealism. You're a positive guy, so I'm sure if someone's listening right now in their 20s and they want to kick higher and get more flexible and get the splits, you would say, absolutely, go for it. At what age would you tell someone, you know what, it might be, the days of axe kicking might be over for you, or maybe you should spend that energy in a different way? Is there an age, sir, where you would say, forget about it?
So my answer is usually you're the youngest you'll ever be again. So you're not going to ever, it's never going to be easier for you to do it until you start stretching. Now, there's some people where I'm don't make it a priority. If it's really a goal for you, it might be possible. But the thing is, I've never had legs that were older than 25. So it's hard for me to say from experience.
Right.
But for the most part, I like to say, well, you know what also is really cool? Punching things.
That's a great answer, and I hope that everyone will train safely based on that.
Yeah, right.
All right.